sprinkles, Santa Claus's special elf. Because everything is special with sprinkles. Santa Claus knows you're special too, and he has something to say to you. So listen close as Santa Claus shares holiday cheer with you. You can leave a special message for Santa Claus and get on the nice list at www.santaclaussays.net. Now here is the big man himself, Santa Claus!
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas to the boys and girls of the entire world. Welcome here to SantaClausSays.net, where Santa Claus says to you, Santa Claus says, be good for goodness sakes. And we also like you to know that here at SantaClausSays.net, we do three things every day during Christmas time of 2023. Number one is we bring Christmas cheer, which we bring through our elf sprinkles. Number two is we share a wonderful Christmas story, an adventure story. And number three is we read a letter to Santa. We have a very good one of those here in today's episode. We love you, and we like you to remind you that you can reach out to Santa Claus at SantaClausSays.net. That's where you can leave me a voice message, where you can leave me a text message, which I get on my purple cell phone, or you can leave me an email. And you do the email by going to SantaClausSays.net/present. When I get your email, I send you an email with a present in the return. You can also get a video with Santa or a video chat, a Zoom call with Santa as well. And a couple of special opportunities coming up here this week. We're recording this every day as we lead up at just this week to Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. So this Saturday, December 23rd, 2023 at 9 o'clock a.m., we have Breakfast with Santa, live Breakfast with Santa on YouTube. So you just go to youtube.com at Santa Claus Says, and you can find my show there. And that's where you can chat with me in person on the YouTube channel. We hope that you'll do just that and join me for cookies and for hot cocoa, which is what I have for breakfast every day. And that's what I hope that you leave me on Christmas Eve. We also want you to know that on Christmas Eve itself, on December 24th, we'll have a special reading of The Night Before Christmas, the book about Christmas Eve. And we'll read that book on December 24th. And we want you to be here for that. And then on December 25th, on Christmas Day itself, we will be reading the story of the first Christmas from the Bible. So I want you to join me for those shows as well. We're here every day during Christmas time of 2023. So join us, please. There's our glockenspiel. There's our chimes, which is where Sprinkles is telling us it is story time. And story time, we've had this wonderful book that we're in the last parts of reading. We're just the last few days of reading this book now, The Life and Adventures of Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum. And the good people at the Gutenberg Project are helping us to have the ability to read this book to you. This author is the same author who wrote The Wizard of Oz, which a lot of you are familiar with. And also the characters in this book have some similarity to the characters in The Wizard of Oz. And so check it out. If you miss any of the past episodes, we read the entire book during this Christmas time of 2023. And don't miss any future episodes as well as we come to you on Facebook, on YouTube, and on the podcast, which you can get at SantaClausSays.net and on Apple Podcasts. But right now we're reading our Christmas story. And today's story is chapter 10 of the second section of the book, which is called The Manhood of Jesus. And the title of this chapter, and it gets really wonderful now, really magical, is Christmas Eve. So let's begin the reading for the day. The day that broke as Claus returned from his night ride with Glossie and Flossie brought to him a new trouble. Will Canuck, the chief guardian of the deer, came to him, surly and ill-tempered, to complain that he had kept Glossie and Flossie beyond daybreak in opposition to his orders. Yes, it could not have been very, very long after daybreak, said Claus. It was 1 minute after, answered Will Canuck, and that is as bad as 1 hour. I shall set the stinging gnats on Glossie and Flossie, and they will thus suffer terribly for their disobedience. Don't do that, begged Claus. It was my fault. But Will Canuck would listen to no excuses and went away grumbling and grumbling in his ill-tempered way. For this reason, Claus entered the forest to consult Necile about rescuing the good deer from punishment. To his delight, he found his old friend, the master woodsman, seated in the circle of nymphs. Ak listened to the story of the night journey to the children and of the great assistance the deer had been to Claus by drawing his sledge over the frozen snow. I do not wish my friends to be punished if I can serve them, said the toy maker, when he had finished their relation. They were only 1 minute late, and they ran swifter than a bird flies to get home before daybreak. Ak stroked his beard thoughtfully for a moment, and then sent for the Prince of the Canucks, who rules all the people in Burzee, and also for the Queen of the Fairies and the Prince of the Ryls. When all had assembled, Claus told his story again. At Ak's command, and then the master addressed the Prince of the Canucks, saying, "The good work that Claus is doing among mankind deserves the support of every honest immortal. Already he is called a saint in some of those towns. Before long, the name of Santa Claus will be lovingly known in every home that is blessed with children. Moreover, he is a son of our forest, and we owe him our encouragement. You, ruler of the Canucks, have known him for many years. Am I not right in saying he deserves our friendship?" The prince, crooked and sour of visage, as all Canucks are, looked only upon the dead leaves at his feet and muttered, "You are the master woodsman of the world." Ak smiled, but continued in soft tones. "It seems that the deer which are guarded by your people can be of great assistance to Claus. And as they seem willing to draw his sledge, I beg that you will permit him to use their services whenever he pleases." The prince did not reply, but tapped the curled point of his sandal with the tip of a spear, as in thought. Then the fairy queen spoke to him in this way: "If you consent to Ak's request, I will see that no harm comes to your deer while they are away from the forest." And the Prince of the Ryls added, "For my part, I will allow to every deer that assists Claus the privilege of eating my casa plants, which give them strength, and my grawl plants, which give them fleetness of foot, and my marbon plants, which give long life." And the Queen of the Nymphs said, "The deer which draw the sledge of Claus will be permitted to bathe in the forest pool of Neres, which will give them sleek coats and wonderful beauty." The Prince of the Canucks, hearing these promises, shifted uneasily on his seat, for in his heart he hated to refuse a request of his fellow immortals, although they were asking an unusual favor at his hands, and the Canucks are unaccustomed to granting favors of any kind. Finally, he turned to his servants and said, "Call Will Canuck." When Shirley Will came and heard the demand of the immortals, he protested loudly against granting them. "Deer are deer," he said, "and nothing but deer. Where there are horses, it would be right to harness them for them like horses. But no one harnesses deer because they are free, wild creatures, owing no service of any sort to mankind. It would degrade my deer to labor for Claus, who is only a man in spite of the friendship lavished on him by the immortals." "You have heard," said the great Prince the prince to Ak. "There is truth in what Will says." "Call Glossie and Flossie," returned the master. The deer were brought to the conference, and Ak asked them if they objected to drawing the sledge for Claus. "No, indeed," replied Glossie. "We enjoyed the trip very much. And we tried to get home by daybreak," added Flossie, "but were unfortunately a minute too late." "A minute lost at daybreak doesn't matter," said Ak. "You are forgiven for that delay." "Provided it does not happen again," said the Prince of the Canucks. "And will you permit them to make another journey with me?" asked Claus eagerly. That's where we'll leave the story there, boys and girls. You will have to tune in again on our next story, our next episode, to find out what happens with Claus and the deer and the Canucks. And you'll want to tune in our next time here on the life and the adventures of Santa Claus on this chapter called Christmas Eve. It is a wonderful story, and we love it. Well, boys and girls, it is now time for our story, time for our letter to Santa. And it's a good one here today, but I want to remind you that you can write to me. You can be in contact with me at SantaClausSays.net. That is the place to leave me either a voice message, you can leave me a text message, or you can leave me an email at SantaClausSays.net/present. If you leave me an email, I will send you a present in your email back to you, because Santa Claus listens to you. Our letter to Santa today is from Chase, and it goes like this. Hello, dear Santa. My name is Chase, and I am 4 years old. This is my first Christmas without my daddy. He got sick and went to heaven in January. For Christmas, I would like to tell him Merry Christmas, and I have been a good boy this year. If it's okay, I would like a race car with with pedals and a steering wheel and a new book. Have a safe trip. Love you, Santa. Love, Chase. What a wonderful letter. You know, Santa Claus is very aware that Santa brings great cheer, and it's a cheerful time of year, but there are sad times too. And we think about Chase and people who've lost loved ones, like Chase lost his father, and other people lost grandparents or other people they love in their life. And we are reminded about that here at Christmas time. So please be mindful of that and part of the good cheer that you can give is to be cheerful and cheer up people like Chase. Chase, I hear your letter, and I hear that your request for the things you wish for, and I know that your dad is going to be with you, even though he's in heaven. He's going to be with you this Christmas, and he is going to have a Merry Christmas because you wished him a Merry Christmas. So that is our letter to Santa for today. Don't forget, you could write me and tell me your messages at SantaClausSays.net. Well, boys and girls, there's our chimes, our Glockenspiel, which tells us it's about time to say goodbye for Santa Claus Says. In this episode of Santa Claus Says, a couple of reminders. This week is the last week before Christmas. So our story about the adventures of the life and adventures of Santa Claus will continue and conclude this week. So you want to be here every episode of Santa Claus Says to get the whole story about the story of the life and the adventures of Santa Claus. We'll conclude that book this week. Then on Saturday, December 23rd at 9 o'clock a.m., we have live Breakfast with Santa. We want you to be here for that. You go to youtube.com at Santa Claus Says, and that's where you can find me, and you can interact with me. You can send me messages on the YouTube show that we have live, and you can join me as I have my hot cocoa and my cookies. I hope that you'll join me with pancakes or whatever it is that you have for breakfast, and we have a great breakfast together. Remember, if you're in different time zones, this is Eastern time I'm talking about, 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern time, December 23rd. You need to kind of think about that and have someone help you understand when that is. But the replay will be on YouTube, of course, as well. You can listen to that anytime. That's December 23rd. On December 24th, Christmas Eve itself, we will be reading the book The Night Before Christmas. And I want you to be here for me for that as we read The Night Before Christmas. And then on December 25th, Christmas Day, our story will be The First Christmas, which is from the Bible, the story of the birth of Jesus. I want you to join me for all of these great stories here on Santa Claus Says. Santa Claus loves you, and I listen to you, and I'm looking forward to being with you this Christmas. Don't forget to leave me cookies and hot cocoa. So until next time, boys and girls, this is Santa Claus, and I'm Santa Claus Says to you to be good for goodness sakes. We'll see you next time, boys and girls. Goodbye. Goodbye. Merry Christmas.
You're special to Santa Claus, just like sprinkles. Get on Santa's nice list at SantaClausSays.net and watch Santa Claus Says on YouTube. Tell him Sprinkles sent you.